Hey everyone, welcome to the Reptile Barn. Today we're going to be showing you guys how we do our incubators. So this is what we've done. We did this for our big snake incubator. I don't know, I'm sure Colin's shown that plenty of times. But basically we take a prefab kit of a cabinet or full-size cabinet similar to the ones that we have some of our lizards in, and we just totally gut them out and put rigid insulation on the inside of them.
So this is just Home Depot stuff.
We're not ordering. I'll pull these out so you guys can see how we do this. Yeah, everything here can be bought at Home Depot
or Lowe's.
Or Lowe's.
Equal opportunity hardware store, people.
Yeah, we kind of bounce between all of them, don't we?
So basically, I just cut these panels of inch-thick rigid insulation, and we silicone them to the walls, to the back, every surface, just to get the good temperature isolation. And we have a divider in here because it's going to end up being half for Sailfin eggs and half for tree monitor eggs. And they have just a couple degrees of difference in their optimal temperature zone. So,
by the way, the silicone, we just use 100% silicone for caulking and things like that. It does give off fumes at first. You cannot use it as an incubator, or if you're using it in an enclosure. A live animal or live egg is totally fine once the silicone is 100% cured. So
which does take several days.
It does. You shouldn't be able to smell silicone. If you can, it's not fully cured yet, and you need to not put animals in there. So it's perfectly safe, but you have to use it correctly. This is a Herpstat 2. The Herpstats are one of the gold standards of thermostats, and we love them. So this will be able to keep one side at like 83 degrees, another side at 85. We just use typical heat tape like the whole reptile trade does. We get ours, I think, at the Serpentarium, but you can get it at Reptile Basics. You can get it at several places. It's a really good product if you use it correctly. We'll probably do a different video on wiring the heat tape. I can show you real quick, but we'll do another video in depth. However, there are already a lot of videos on YouTube of how to properly wire heat tape for reptile use. So you could just look up one of those too, but we'll probably do one just for people who want to see it here. But basically, we have it all taped to the back, and then we're going to have a little fan in the top so that from top to bottom is going to be the same temperature. We don't want, because heat rises, we don't want it to be 86 degrees up here and 82 degrees down here. That's not good enough. We need pretty much exact temperatures throughout the space. So the heat tape gives off very even heat across its whole surface, and the thermostat can hold it within 1/10 of a degree. And as long as there's a fan breaking up that, air pockets, having hot air rise, we should be in good shape.
Let's see, I can show
the shelving
towers as we built them. No, this is just, rough design. I just went and bought some 1x2s again from Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere like that. And I believe for both of these towers, I only ended up needing, I think, 5 8-foot long 1x2s. So it's really not a crazy wood investment to be able to build these towers. And I just did that just for a cheap construction that we could very easily customize for the exact size that we needed. And you can see how we built the frame here. Basically, I just have a box frame with these little ledges on either side for each shelf, and then I staple a wire mesh that we again bought at Home Depot.
I promise we're not getting endorsements from Home Depot. We just buy a lot of stuff at Home Depot.
Yeah, so you want to grab that staple gun?
Yeah.
Show them.
And the reason why the shelves are not solid, he wanted to use screen instead of something solid, is just so that the fan can actually blow air all the way to the bottom and not be stopped by shelves, because these fill up pretty much the entire space in there.
So we just use a hand stapler. It's pretty easy. Just cut the individual rectangles of the wire mesh to size, and it's a lot easier actually if you take that one as a kind of a outline, a template for the rest of them, and just cut for however many. Like right on this one we have 4, so I just used it as a template and cut 3 more and just staple along the edges. Again, we do that, as Colin was saying, to get good airflow from top to bottom. So we will have a 4-slot shelving unit for our Sailfins, and the other one is not quite done yet, but this will also be same exact setup, same exact idea here. And we're not quite done yet. We may do a little update as everything is totally finished. But I did it pretty tight so that everything would hold in the right place. So really all we have left is wiring this other side of the heat tape and putting these mesh shelves on, and we will be totally done.
Yep. So I already cut the 2 pieces of heat tape for this side. Basically, all you need to do, and this heat tape was repurposed from an old rack. Normally it's all nice and shiny. It's got little, we'll clean it off, but it's totally good to use still. What you need to do to wire these 2 together, I'll punch holes in the copper part on both of these. Take wires, and you can actually open these up. And you slide, there's a special piece that I'll show you. I don't know if you can see that, but it opens slightly.
Yep.
So you slide these guys. You just slide it inside there, and once it's been hole punched, there's going to be that hole open there. And then you push one of these guys through it. Oopsie, sorry. So with that coming out, pretend that's popping through the surface. You can kind of clamp it down. There's a special tool for smashing them. It's kind of fun. And then you just slide your wires. I've stripped off the end of it so that the copper is exposed. Again, this is an old crappy one. Normally it'd be nice and smooth. But once this is all attached firmly, you would just slide that in there, smash that down with some pliers. And once you've done that to both sides, these 2 are now hooked up together, and they will run as if because there's a consistent current going through all of it. And you can do as long or as short as you want, as long as it is wired correctly. You don't want it coming apart, but it's not as scary as it sounds. But we'll do a whole video kind of describing that process as well.
So these are the fans that we'll probably use, or something similar. I just had some of these laying around, so I wanted to show you guys. They're just basically little computer fans. What we're going for is something that's going to be, low power consumption, so that it's not an overpowering amount of air force that it's blowing down. Otherwise, the tubs that we have for the egg boxes actually do have little holes in them, and we don't want too much because, potentially could make the bedding dry out faster or any type of thing like that. So we'll basically end up just attaching these to the ceiling in here. Is this one? And it'll be attached to the ceiling. It'll just be blowing air down so that we get that even airflow from top to bottom.
So all of this together probably costs as much as the thermostat. I mean, really, the cabinet, the little bit of wood, the heat tape, the insulation, a little bit of caulking. There's just not that much expensive.
There's a couple
here.
tools. I mean, if you want, these things are $10 or $15 if you want to buy a little hand stapler, a roll of staples, and the wire mesh.
Yeah,
but
and there's some random stuff, but none of it's expensive except the thermostat. And for your incubator, do not skimp on your thermostat. Get a good one. You'll regret it at some point in your life if you have a cheap thermostat that doesn't do a very good job regulating the temperature.
Well, you could think of it also as still saving money, because if you were to buy an incubator this size that was professionally made, it could be,
$2,000,
several $1,000.
Yeah.
So you're still saving a lot of money this way.
Yep.
And we haven't had any issues with our snake incubator that we've
none
done.
whatsoever. And we did this exact same thing, just on a larger scale, for the snake incubator. We bought like a $100, $120 cabinet and gutted it just exactly like this. The only thing, honestly, that I would do different in the snake incubator is put in real shelving.
Yeah.
We just have a little random
Well, and at some point we plan to do
and we
that.
will.
When we need
we'll have
to
to.
maximize the space we have in there, but we haven't had any issues so far. Oh, one other thing for these, if anybody's using this as kind of like a guide building their own, and you want to buy a cabinet like this just for a nicer outside finish, make sure you get one that actually has a back panel. Some of these actually just have a board that goes across the top that's at a 45-degree angle to hang on the wall. And they just assume that you won't need a back panel because it's going to be hung on the wall.
Yeah.
So make sure if you're getting a kit, this was only $90 or something like that, but just make sure that it actually has a back piece when you're looking at it if you do decide to go this route.
I feel like you learned that from personal experience.
I did. Although the other one I just ended up using as a medicine cabinet, so it doesn't matter anymore, but... So is there anything else you can think of for this? Or?
Lots of them also are only going to have, on this, it doesn't really matter. But lots of cabinets only have that like kind of cardboard stuff for the backing. If you're not screwing anything into it, that's fine. If you're just gluing on some insulation, like for something small like this, that's totally fine. But if you're intending to,
if it's going to be weight bearing, basically, you want it to not just be a piece of cardboard.
We have actually replaced that cardboard. We've just cut plywood to size before and screwed that on because we want the extra strength. That's all I've got. I hope that this was a requested video, so I hope that this answers your questions. We had tried filming while we were putting it all together. It didn't turn out so good. The footage just wasn't good. So instead,
we also were having a hard time working on it at the same time every day.
Right. So. It doesn't take that long. If you have an afternoon and there's one or two of you, you should be able to do it. It's been like, oh, I have 20 minutes. Let's go work on this thing. But anyways, there it is. Hopefully that was helpful. It is absolutely cheaper than if you go buy a Reptile Incubator. I cannot stress that enough. It's a difference between $400 total, including the thermostat, or $2,000 for one this size. And because of the thermostat we're using, that's okay.
Of course.
Because of the thermostat we are using, the quality of incubation you're going to get is just as good. In fact, better than some of the commercial ones that you can buy. Now, if you are at a place and you're breeding where you're like, I don't have an extra afternoon and I'm fine spending the money, you can go buy one.
Okay, I'm going to answer this.
Okay. So, are you filming?
I don't know.
I was talking about just the pros and cons of the commercial versus this. The only con to doing an incubator like this is the time. That's it. It is cheaper.
I would say with professional ones, it's going to be slightly more aesthetically pleasing.
Oh yeah. You can get they look all chrome and finished and everything. Yeah, you're right.
Although,
this looks
nice.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Especially when it's done.
Yeah, and if we have Reptile Barn stickers and stuff. Anyways, we'll make it look cool eventually. But it really, I promise, it seems like super DIY to be putting siliconed panels of insulation in there and everything, but it functions perfectly fine.
We've hatched hundreds of baby ball pythons out of the snake incubator, and we have a higher than average success rate.
Oh, we never have eggs go bad, hardly ever. Now, when you have a power outage and you have
The battery's dying.
Oh. Never mind, screw all that. Thank you guys for watching. It's been great. Until next time, we're the Reptile Barn.